G'day Rugby League fans. Welcome along to the ACC's Mad Monday podcast. It is the 3rd of July 2023. My name is Chris Key, a.k.a. Adam Whanua-Keezy. Joining me today, Manaia Stewart, a.k.a. Jerome Manaia. Or Jerome Luaya Stewart. How are you today?
Offended straight off the bat. Yeah, hurt feelings. Don't appreciate the compliment.
I want to be honest, I was driving into work and I was cracking myself up. I'm going to crowbar Manaia's name into Jerome Luai. That'll be funny.
As you know, I can't stand him. I don't know. I know you're a massive fan of him.
Wow.
You kind of like, you approach your job the way he approaches his job. Like the other day, I saw someone get bowled over just in the hallways here at NZ and then you were the first person standing over them.
Yeah, well, that old lady had it coming, so take that. By the way, we are doing this, of course, from the Export Beer Garden studio, and a big shout-out to the Mad Monday official sponsor, 4 and 20 Pies, the fan food of both Rugby League and the Mad Monday podcast. Now, Manaia, a few things coming up in this episode. We'll chat Waz first, get into the stonker, a whole weekend of blowouts, and then some State of Origin teams which have just been announced. But first, we do have to look at the Warriors, who went down to the Rabbitohs, 28 points to 6.
It's been all one-way traffic, but can they convert here? Front door, no, back door. Here comes Marcelo Montoya.
First
try scorer of the game is Marcelo Montoya, and the ACC are printing money. Our game day good punters come in 15 minutes into the game, $850 into the kitty. Oh no!
Oh God, the new boy, Tyrone Munro.
He's got a try already in this game. He goes to the hook.
It's a wobbler.
It's an old school foot race. It's well weighted now. Oh, someone's been taken out in back lane. If they scored here, they're going to claim it. Blake Tapp thinks he has.
Sliding about 10 metres in this weather, straight into the barrier, and thank goodness for that. The Rolling Stones play, and the Warriors are done for the night, going down to the Rabbitohs.
It's not the sound of Mike Minogue.
Mike Minogue.
That massive honker of his in the background. No, unfortunately, that is the hooter, full-time hooter. Timberland rings out across the Export Beer Garden studio.
Oh, yeah, but a Timberland and Magoo chat, that and Tekken chat and Flannel chat, the highlights of the weekend's game.
Tekken takes over all of our commentaries these days. There's been about six successive commentaries that have been just waylaid by Tekken. We're going to have a Tekken tournament.
Actually, I'd be a Tekken 3 tournament, because I think 3's the peak, personally.
Okay.
I know you're a 2 guy,
I'm a 2 guy, yeah.
That's all good. I'm sure we can come together
right now
and figure something out. Oh, no, I mean on Tekken. Now, a few facts before we get into chatting the Waz, Manaia. Firstly, playing at home, Mount Smart Stadium.
Yes.
Sold out crowd, extra seats brought in, a lot of fizz. Rabbitohs on a 5-day turnaround, travelling without a lot of their backline, including Isaiah Tass and Campbell Graham as well.
Latrell,
and Latrell.
Obviously been out for a while, but still.
That's right. So just a whole lot of guys missing. However, they came to play and they ended up posting the biggest loss of the Warriors season on us at home in front of a packed stadium. So
that actually makes me feel quite good. That it's the biggest loss that we've had at home.
Oh, yeah, shit, yeah.
7 out of 9. It's sort of a similar story to when the Roosters came and we played in more biblical floods. I mean, it has rained in Auckland for, how many months have there been so far this year? 6, 7?
Yeah,
it's rained for all of them.
It has, yeah.
And so the Warriors were struggling against the Roosters when they actually were kept to 0 against the Roosters.
Oh, that was an ugly game.
When it was, absolutely hammering down. And then again this weekend when it was raining. And I just think the Warriors don't do too well, I mean, quite clearly. In the wet, I think that a lot of the, these last sort of 2 or 3 weeks have been spoiled a bit by 40-point score lines, silky catch and pass moves, which all became a little bit undone. And I was saying this earlier this morning. I jump on Flavour Radio every Monday to recap the Warriors. And I said the same thing. That Dallin Watene-Zelezniak charge down, not charge down, which I think was still a bit squirrely. Obviously, it hit his hand, but when you
chest then hand was the issue.
Well, but I mean, when you charge a ball down, it's pretty messy. Anyway, no one could cleanly say that they just charged the ball down with their chest. Anyway, I digress. I feel like that could have gone either way, but it didn't. If he scores that, the scoreline all of a sudden is 16-12 to the Rabbitohs, so we're only 4 points behind. And I think that actually what blew the scoreline out a little bit is that the Rabbitohs can really run points up on any team. And once they have that buffer of more than one try needing to be scored, they start doing all sorts of like chip kicks and they started getting a bit razzly there towards the end. So I don't think the other thing that I was saying this morning was like, this wasn't we're so shocking here in New Zealand of being, and particularly on this podcast, whenever the Warriors win, it's like, oh, they're the greatest team of all time, top 4. Is it our year? Are we going to win the title?
Sir?
And then if we ever lose, we're like, well, listen, the Warriors have always been shit. They're trash. Fold them. Let's get back to 16 teams in the NRL, you know? But this is why we play a 26 round or whatever it is regular season, 27 year-long regular season. And it's because we don't know who's better than who.
No, exactly. And I mean, that's one of the greatest things about NRL in 2023 is that every time you think you know the result of something, it doesn't happen. It's one of the most ridiculous seasons I've ever seen.
It's been great, though, for that very reason.
You're right about the Rabbitohs, though, when they get their tails up. It's them, the Sharks, and the Cowboys at the moment.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 teams that'll do that. So if they get a slight buffer, they'll start, like Cody Walker will start going nuts, so will Scott Drinkwater and Nico Hines. Like they just start piling on points. So, but what I don't understand is why are we not very good in the rain? It has literally rained since the season began. It rained. It's raining right now. You know, Mount Smart is currently still soggy. How come we're not as slick in the rain? I don't understand. We should be the best in the rain.
We should be. It's certainly a handling thing because, you know, we're not letting in monster scores. We saw 60s, we saw 70s across the week. And it's more that we are not able to finish off our moves. When the ball's going through the hands, you know, DWZ wasn't able to get across the line. I feel like that would have blown a lot of people's multis, screwed up their fantasy teams this week. But
Definitely.
I just think that what we've been good at this year is Sean Johnson playing Rasley football. He's taking it to the line. He's throwing dummies. That game's very hard to play in the pissing rain.
It really is. And also the big shout out to the Rabbitohs forward pack as well. I reckon they kind of dominated us. And like when you think about the guys I've got, Totola, Cam Murray, Hame Saleh even, I just think they kept us on the back foot. And then Kolomatangi as well. Like they've just got and they all just started to click. Yeah. And one thing, and we pointed this out during the commentary as well, if it's pissing with rain, you're going to start seeing Cody Walker kicking it to the wing, specifically Alex Johnson, who is seemingly unaffected by a wet track and is still so freaking quick.
Great hands.
And the issue that it brought up too is that, holy fuck, how hard is it to turn a cruise ship round? That's what it's like. Marcelo Montoya setting off in mud and then having to slow down and then turn around because someone's kicked the ball.
Yeah.
And so we've got these big, awesome wingers, and Chance is a big fella as well. Like, so if you can put a little kick in behind us, you can catch us off guard quite easily.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, having said all of that, it's not like they blew us out. 28 points isn't that massive, and a couple of those tries right at the end.
Do you know what's funny as well is if you said to the Tigers right now, hey, would you trade your result for a 22-point drubbing at home in front of a sold-out crowd? They would do it in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. Every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Like losing to the Bunnies by 22. You sweet, I'll take that this round.
Absolutely. But that's just a rugby league loss, 28-6. So
that's right.
I don't think this... The only worrying thing for me is what would you have changed? Like, if the Warriors had won that game on Friday night, what would have gone differently?
Adam Fanua-Blake wouldn't have been sent off before halftime, resulting in a try. That is where we killed all our momentum.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, as we were discussing earlier, just shit handling errors and stuff. And quite a few times this season, old Webster's come in at halftime and given us a bit of a rev up and we come out raring to go. It just didn't quite happen. Well, to be honest, we needed one. But it didn't quite happen. I think it's just at that point in the season where people are starting to get a bit fatigued and tired and stuff.
Yeah, big time.
We've got another bye coming around 21. It's a few weeks away, but yeah.
I know we're going to talk about the blowouts in another segment, but I think that's a massive part of that at the moment. Let's not forget as well that we... we're missing a lot of dudes. New Kore, he was out. Josh Curran didn't play this week. We probably could have done with him.
I think we missed Tamaire this week as well. Metcalf just sort of in over his head a wee bit there.
Yeah.
Di Henwood accused him of being a massive hamu in our group chat. So learning when to pass is obviously something that he's still developed on his...
I know, but like imagine being a Metcalf and you get thrown into that. Literally, it was raining so hard at certain points that we commentating the game could not see the field.
Yeah, true.
To even tell you what was going on. Dudes were sliding about 20 metres every time they hit the ground.
Oh, the amount of like diving to hit a ball dead and then sliding into the barrier that happened?
Yeah, so if you had to design conditions for a fast-running half like Luke Metcalf is, for him to fail, those would be the conditions. You get him on a cold, hard, dry track, he'll be flying.
Yeah.
He'll be absolutely flying. But yeah, I just think very messy, very scrappy. And to be honest, the TAB couldn't split either of those teams before that game. And I think it's because they were like, look, it's just going to come down to whoever can hold on to the bloody thing.
That's true. And I mean, the only issue in 2023, which has been brilliant, is like one loss to the Rabbitohs and you drop from 5th to 8th.
Yeah, because of that massive log jam.
There are 3 teams on 22 points now.
Yeah, last week I think there were like 4 or 5 teams that were on 20.
That's right. So it was an absolute cluster. And so you've got the 2 top teams. Panthers, Broncos are on 26. I believe the Broncos have still got a couple of buys, so they're well and truly up the top.
That's the other thing about the ladder, checking the ladder. Granted, I did get a fright this morning when I checked the ladder, and I was like, ooh, 8. We were just on 5. But the thing about it is that not only is there a log jam, but the buys also throw it out of whack. Now, I've seen the buy adjusted ladders. Have you seen that?
No.
That just twists my brain into a pretzel. I'm not good with numbers as it is.
Do you just get so when you look at a ladder now, you should have an asterisk next to your point for every buy you've played. So if you've got 2 asterisks next to your points,
yeah,
it means you've had your 2 buys and you've now got 1 buy left.
Like in the NBA when you know how many timeouts a team's got left.
Exactly. Well, you have that next to your points, and so you go, oh, okay, the Broncos have still got a lot of buys up their sleeve. The Warriors have still got, I think, 1 more buy.
Yeah.
And ours have been quite nicely spread out all season. But right behind us, though, on 20, the Cowboys and somehow the Titans as well.
I know. And the Cowboys, well, this is good stuff, though, for us because the Cowboys are surging at the moment. I think if you look at the table, you know I love to play this game of who are we better than that's above us, who's better than us that's below us. At the moment, on
Raiders.
form, we're probably better than the Raiders.
Yeah, they're in 5th now.
Shockingly so.
Yeah.
I can't believe that snuck up that they're on 5th. The Cowboys are really surging at the moment as well. You'd have to say if we ran into them again, it's going to be pretty tough. We went up there and smacked them in the mouth last time, but
I don't think that's going to happen again. I think it'll be a very close game.
they are looking very, very good. They said this last year, and they've said it again this year, and I'm starting to wonder if it's true, but Origin is great for the North Queensland Cowboys. They start to remember that they can do it. There's something about clearly those guys walking back into camp as Origin guys.
Yeah,
You know when you if you play when you played sports at high school and you got pulled out of class because you had like a inter-school or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Walking out of that class, just being like, "I'll see you guys later on." You felt like invincible. You felt immortal.
I honestly, that used to happen to me all the time.
Yeah, it would have, man.
Yeah. Well, actually, maybe like once or twice. Mostly it was being sent out of class, which is a real dick shrinker, but a healthy balance of the two. But you're right, though, because guys like Val Holmes, Cotter, even Reece Robson as well.
Well, Robson and Cotter particularly because I think, they're otherwise just guys, really. I mean, they're good players, but, Val Holmes is a sort of, he's a superstar in his own right. But then those guys come back in and they've just played Origin.
By the way, sorry.
Yeah.
Would you be represented by a law firm called Robson and Cotter?
Robson and Cotter. I think I would.
Yeah, I reckon that's a great name for a law firm.
It beats out the Tony and McConey law firm that currently represent me. They never show up to a trial on time at the moment, and they just talk around in circles.
Yeah, shout out to Tony Lyle and James McConey. Well, look, anything else you want to say on the Wars, mate, before we move on?
I'm just looking through my notes here. Shout out to 4 and 20.
I might give a quick shout out to the Bunnies for coming to New Zealand, shit conditions, up against a really clinical Warriors side and actually doing a job on us.
Yeah,
that was impressive.
They did do well. Actually, Adam's just reminded me that I've actually made a massive list of notes here that I'd like to go through.
Oh, wow.
And now's probably as good a time as any to go through them.
That's a really big list.
Thank you. Now, I didn't write actually any of this. In fact, you listening, you wrote this. Now, people text in a lot in our commentaries. And to be honest with you, I know you run the text machine, and when we ask people to text in, they come in so quickly that you can't read them.
It's like binary code flying at you. It is so hard to read.
It's like the opening scenes of The Matrix or watching the intro to Star Wars on fast forward. It's just...
I got a text from my brother on my actual phone being like, did you get my text? I texted in.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did you say? I just set up the wires. And I was like, well, probably, but there was so many texts coming in that set up the wires. How the hell am I supposed to know?
I know. So, in the cold light of day on a Monday morning, I had time to go through the text. So, I've got a selection of some of the texts that didn't make it to air. That I felt like needed to get a bit of love. And I think this is a good way of making sure that when you text us in, like maybe we might not get to your text. It's not a reflection of how good or bad your text is.
No.
It's just that it's absolute madness once we're up and running. So
just quickly before we get into it, the sort of areas of chat were up the wires, of course, the wet conditions, flannels.
Flannels got a run.
Flannels were big flannel chat. And I can't remember what the other stuff was.
A lot of flannels. There was some other stuff. There was some devil's yogurt chat, which a lot of people have mentioned to me is absolutely sickening. So, so here's a few of the texts that didn't make it to air. Keezy looking like a snack tonight. Love Az. That's got a week.
Thanks, Az.
First time listening with my son. You guys are way better than those hacks on the other channel. Keezy, you backbone.
Oh, wow. I love these texts so far.
Keezy, let the other guy talk more.
Fuck.
Keezy's got a fat head. Wow, Keezy, that's a big snoz on you. Thought the guys on the big show were just bagging you. Very Roman. Keezy, can you face the front? I can hardly see Manaia.
Very Roman. Fucking hell.
Roman all over your face. Would need a towel rather than a flannel for his massive snoz. Keezy's going to need 2 flannels, one for each nostril when dog roll flattens that massive snoz. Keezy's milk flannel brings all the boys to the yard. Damn right, it's stickier than yours.
Oh, this segment sucks.
Did little Keezy's mum flannel his weenus? I think about Keezy's community chest joke every day. What's the community chest joke?
Oh, it was about Chance Nickel Clockstar's little brother. Community chest Nickel Clockstar. Shout out.
And one last one. Bowden Barrett here, just practicing my jiu-jitsu technique for my fight against Keezy.
Bring it on, sucker. Well,
what's the backstory for those that don't know about the fight with Bowden Barrett?
First and last time we'll do that segment, by the way. I was basically being very pro-Warriors on the big show last week.
Yeah.
Which was misconstrued as very anti-union.
Oh.
And I was saying about how cool it was that the Crusaders just won 7 in a row.
Right, as a way
that's so cool.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's so cool for rugby.
Yeah, what a predictable tournament, yeah.
And then Bowden Barrett listened to it, saw Mike Minogue at the gym, chatted to him about it, and then now wants to scrap me out. And so I'm going to have to knock his ass out.
Well, you're going to have to keep the fight on the feet, bro, because by the sounds of it, he's a big jiu-jitsu guy, yeah.
Yeah, damn, I suck at BJJs. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, mate. Also suck at, yeah. All right, well, we'll move on from the Warriors. No, don't. Leave it alone. We'll move on to the stonker, which actually I didn't watch, Manaia. It was last night. And I tell you what, 2 teams that I'm not interested in.
No.
It's the Shithouse Roosters and Manly without Tom Turbo.
Yeah.
But just quickly, because actually, you know, let's do the highlights first. It's time now for the stonker of the round. It was Manly with a last-minute win over the Roosters, 18 points to 16.
Sandon Smith, beautiful pass. Manu for the corner. He's got there. What a pass. And Joseph Manu does what he does best, gets the try line, and the Roosters in front. 5 away from the line. Seconds, 2, 1, he plays the ball, it's the last, through the hands, Sandon Smith with the kick, Manly win!
Yeah, a bit of a wobbly old kick to finish things there, but shout out to these 2 teams for making it a bit of a stonker. Now, I didn't watch it, so I'll get a full debrief from you just quickly.
Yep.
It looked from where I was sitting, which was playing PlayStation, that DCE had a real masterclass of a game.
Yeah.
A few amazing kicks and stuff.
Yeah.
Jake Trebojevic back, instant impact in the middle there.
Yeah.
Garrick should be playing at fullback without Tom Turbo, not that other Weeks. I think KO Weeks they had there for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And Joey Manu is the only good player at the Roosters right now.
Well, I want to pick up on that last point first because that's exactly right. When and this game was a great game, despite only being 20 points to 18, and it was more than just a exciting finish. But whenever the Roosters got into attacking position, which happened quite a lot, they would just go searching for Joey. There was nothing else doing. They had no other plan, and it was so predictable that you know the left edge, as you're looking at it from Manly's side, defense were just like, oh, there he is. It's obviously coming to him. They'll put 3 people on him. Now he's that good that even with 3 people draped all over him, he's still making meters, still looking threatening.
But like that's just literally schoolyard. There's that kid that's bigger than everyone else. Give him the ball on every tap and go.
And it's becoming like that for this team. So he is all that they've got at the moment. They could really do with a little Sam Walker action.
Oh my God, that was a blowout, wasn't it?
I know. I mean, he's injured at the moment. They're saying he's circling around 20 to come back, but you got to put him back in there.
He got injured when they dropped him to the grade below. Yeah. So like he could be playing right now, and they could be not, you know, because he's already played 50 NRL games, right?
Yeah. He's at least something, you know? And like maybe the rumour is that he butted heads with whoever their halves coach is, which I think is Cooper Cronk. But well,
what's he done lately? Nah, mad respect, Cooper. Like,
how many titles has he won? But no, it's like, I don't know. It's just, they're a team that's desperately in need of something. I am blinded by the fact that I can't stand Tedesco, and so I can't really evaluate how good he is.
He's playing like shit, but I can't believe you're the only one I know that doesn't like James Tedesco.
It's because of all the years of them saying how amazing he is when Roger Tuivasa-Sheck was miles better than him.
So you're more pro Roger than you are anti-Teddy.
I just don't understand the love for Teddy. That they always talk about him as if he's the greatest player in rugby league, and he at no point I don't think could you ever point to him and be like, he is the single greatest player in the NRL.
Well, there was a stat, I think it was over the last 10 years. I can't remember what the stat was, but over the last 10 years, the top 5 players based on, I can't remember what, maybe it was fantasy related, Dalian rankings, blah, 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 blah. Teddy is the only person to be in literally like 8 out of the 10.
I know, but in none of those 8 was he ever the number one. And
no.
You know, and that's sort of my...
Would you rather be pretty friggin' good for 10 years or like real good for 1 year?
Would you rather be Jared Hayne or
wow, that's not the
Dylan
right
Edwards?
question.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I can't understand the Teddy love.
Fair enough.
He's good. He's great. Is he excellent? Probably not.
Not right now.
And certainly at the moment, he might be a bit past it. Obviously.
Here's a question. Where do you think the Roosters are on the table?
Are they above us? No. They're 10th.
10th?
Yeah.
The Roosters are 13th.
Okay, yeah.
How bad is that?
Yeah, it's...
That is bad.
I know, but they have been bad.
But they've also lost a lot of, as you mentioned, they're losing guys like, they just lost Suoli'i and Billy Smith, who knocked heads.
Satili Tupanua
And Angus Crichton, who was tripping on mushies at the start of the season. So, like, they've had this, and they usually have a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker on the bench. Like, all those guys are sort of out and injured. They're playing Radley in the back row rather than at lock, and they've got all sorts of shit happening, but it's just clunky and horrible.
I also think, and I know this will come as a shock to approximately no one, but Jared Waerea-Hargreaves has fully devolved into old man game. So like old man basketball game, it's all elbows. I've got it in my social basketball league on Wednesdays.
Pulling jerseys and
Pulling
shit.
jerseys, holding people's elbows when they're jump shooting, like all that kind of stuff. He is starting to do more of that than he is just like earnest hit-ups. He clearly eye-gouged one of the Manly Sea Eagles on the game just last night.
Really?
And he got away with it, and I think it was just because he wasn't, like he twice he grabbed the guy by the eyeball, and I think if he did it against a halfback, then he probably would have got pinged for it, but it was Paseka or Toff Sipley or one of those guys, so he kind of got away with it, but he's just really devolving into old man game. Who is aging gracefully, though, is Daly Cherry Evans.
33.
33,
I think.
But because he was playing Origin when he was like 19, he feels like he's 50. And he's aging kind of like Steph Curry, where Steph Curry's going to be able to shoot threes when he can't walk anymore. And Daly Cherry Evans, I mean, he's still quick as. You saw him in Origin chasing down...
34.
34, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was right there off a couple of breakaways, scoring tries, but it was his kicking game that kept them in this because they struggled to get out of their own half, man.
Yeah.
They were getting pinned, and then he would kick a 40-20. He goes for a 40-20 more than anyone in the league.
He also is the man at getting intercept tries as well.
That intercept try was sick.
He's got a few of them. He's so good like
He
that.
is so excellent. So, yeah, Daly Cherry Evans was really the reason that they won that. But, yeah, a stonker and a real treat on Sunday night. They need to bring in Monday night games. Imagine starting your week with a game to look forward to tonight.
We used to have Monday night footy a few years ago, and it was one of my favourite things.
I saw a meme the other day. It was like, guys literally only want one thing, and it's disgusting. And it was Monday night footy.
So accurate. We're going to take a quick break there on the Mad Monday podcast. When we come back, we'll go over the blowouts of the weekend. Also, we'll be going through the State of Origin teams for Game 3, which have just been announced. So don't you go nowhere, bruh. That was cool.
That was sick.
That was a cool way to end it, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Not guilty, Your Honour.
Yeah, what are you getting the ref's room number, mate?
Welcome back to the Mad Monday podcast in the Export Beer Garden studio, holding a couple of 4 and 20 pies. You've got Chris Key, a.k.a. Adam Whanua-Kesey, and Manaia Stewart, a.k.a. Tino Fa'asua Manaia.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, sorry about that one from earlier, mate. But a few quick things. The TAB Good Punt, we will be doing that on Wednesday's podcast. And the reason we're doing a Wednesday podcast is because you've got Teamless Tuesday tomorrow night, which is going to wreak havoc on Supercoach teams. We usually do a Supercoach wrap on the Tuesday. We're going to wait, analyse the teams overnight, and do the potty on Wednesday instead. So,
well, particularly with there's only 5 games this week, so there's going to be a lot of jiggery pokery to field a team. So
I've just saying, like, we're going to go right now into. Do you want to go State of Origin chat first or blowout chat first?
Let's go blowouts, I think.
Yep. May as well keep it relevant on the NRL. Now, if you did watch round 18 in the NRL, you will be aware that there were several blowouts. 3 of them, in fact. And it all started Thursday night, 52-16, the Sharks whooping ass, the Dragons. Then on Saturday night, the Cowboys, 74-0 over the West's Tigers. And then last night, The Bulldogs got absolutely thrashed by the Knights, 66 points to 0. Manaia Stewart.
You know, the hardest one of these to watch was the Sharks one because the Thursday game, 10 p.m. kickoff for us in New Zealand is brutal.
It is brutal.
As it is. And so you try and watch, you're like, oh, awesome, I'm gonna stay up, I'm going to watch this game. And then it's an absolute blowout and you're like sitting there one eye open like, am I really going to stay up any later than this?
You know what I've started doing, and I don't know if you'd be able to do it, is
Recording it and watching it the next morning.
watch the first half
Yeah.
and then go to bed and then wake up in the morning, make a coffee and watch the second half.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely couldn't do that. What I've started doing is watching it and telling myself, oh, yeah, I'll just watch it in bed and watch it on my phone and then falling asleep and then waking up to my missus whacking me, telling me to turn my fucking phone off because it's playing real loud and then falling
Do you not wear headphones?
Then falling asleep again. I'm in bed. You know, I'm relaxing. I don't want to have a big pair of
Wait, so you play your rugby league out loud in bed while your missus is... Your missus who has a far more difficult job than you do.
Yeah,
More physical.
I didn't pick her career for her. You
No.
know? If she's gonna if she wants to stand out there in the rain for 12 hours a day, you know, and come home, she should just have a think about the fact that I'm going to be playing rugby league from 10 till midnight while I'm asleep and she's awake because she can't sleep because I'm playing it so loud.
Fuck, you're a good guy.
And I'm fast asleep. And then I wake up, she's whacking me in the head, and then I turn the phone off, then I fall asleep, then I wake up again out of anxiety. By this point, she's asleep, but I'm wide awake because as my bet come in, I need to check.
Right.
And then I check that, and then I fall asleep again. That's how my Thursday nights generally go. Now, that's made far tougher by the blowout. The Cowboys one I actually really enjoyed watching. That was
So did I,
a
yeah.
genuine novelty. I was at your house watching it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was I mean, aside from the fact that your missus was sitting directly between me and the TV, it's
Yeah,
fine.
sorry
It wasn't
about
really
that.
my
And
place to say.
you were too polite to ask her to just move out the
Yeah,
way, so I
yeah.
had to do it. Yeah, but then she moved, and then Dan couldn't see.
Yeah, I know.
And then but I could see the whole time.
Yeah.
So good.
That's home court advantage, isn't it? Really, home field advantage at its purest. But that one was great just because of the novelty factor of it, and also I don't know why, but I just hate the Tigers. I want them to suck. I want them to suffer, and they do suck. Yeah.
I think the Tigers, because there's a lot of rumblings about how the management and stuff have got a magnifying glass over them and they need to be sacked and it's like, duh, the Tigers have been shit
Oh, you mean
forever.
Tim Sheens, who was appointed to look into the coaching staff, and
And
he
then-
looked into the coaching staff, was just like, yeah, sweet, I'll be the coach. And now they're talking about bringing Benji in earlier. Look, I don't know. Then the Knights, that was great selfishly for my Supercoach team because Ponga went absolutely off. I don't know what the Bulldogs are up to. They just sucked. They threw the towel in massively.
They do suck. And I
Yeah.
think, I mean, shout out to the Bulldogs. They've had a lot of injuries. And like one of obviously the biggest ones, Viliame Kikau was supposed to be in there with them. But
Yeah.
they're doing all sorts of weird shit with the halves. Like, I can't remember the name of the young fella they had debuting in the halves and then he pulled him off at
Yeah.
halftime because he was getting eaten alive. And they did the
Yeah.
same earlier in the season with Oluwapu as well and sort of gassed him. So
They've had the last 2 years the Sharks have had the last 2 years that the Bulldogs thought they were going to have. When they
Yes.
brought Burton and Fox and Kikau over, they were like, here we go. Now
Yeah.
they got TPJ this year, and they were like, oh, it's all on. But it's like the Sharks are actually doing what the Bulldogs think they're doing.
yeah, meanwhile at the Bulldogs we've got Ockenbauer in the back row.
It's like, you know, when you're playing a two-player split-screen game and you are racing like Mario Karts and you're like, oh my God, I'm first, this is sick. And then you look over and it's actually the other side of the screen is you and you're just doing skids against the hoardings.
I've done that so many times.
That's basically what they're doing.
Oh, man.
I know you're a car guy, so I'd like to make a car analogy if I could.
All right, go for it, but just be aware, heavy critical analysis incoming.
Yeah, okay. And I don't know if maybe we should get your dad on the phone here because he's actually the car guy and you're not. but
Wow, I mean, I don't know about that.
Let's see if any of it's rubbed off on you. You're familiar with how, and I've tried to land this metaphor before and it didn't work, so I'm going to try again here.
Yeah, have another stab at it on our podcast.
Are you familiar with how a turbocharger works? A turbo, when you fit a turbo onto your car.
yeah.
So basically, it takes, what is it, the exhaust?
Exhaust fumes.
And then that speeds it up.
that
and,
spins
and-
the
sorry.
turbine.
Yeah, and then the turbine spinning,
It forces the clean air into the engine.
yes. And so as it gets faster, this is going to sound a little bit stupid, but it gets exponentially faster as it goes.
That's
so the
right.
graph is like, it gets very, very steep because it feeds off of its own
Yeah, that's right.
pressure to get faster and faster. That's what's happening with these blowouts. It's the 6 again rule. It's all of these different rules that have been brought in that mean the game is faster, there's more ball in play, there's less chance for you to get a rest, and all of that adds up to once you've let the score get past like 30 points, you're looking down the barrel of 60 or 70. Because on top of the fact that you haven't had the ball, you've also been defending. And I don't know if you've watched a game of rugby league live recently. It is, you don't really see it on the screen because they're so zoomed in, but you are running suicides for 80 minutes straight. On top of that, you have 120 kilo men running at you. And so it's having this turbo effect of blowing these ones out, where I think a lot of these games, these 60s, these 70s, might have been 30s back in the day, and the odd one might have been a 50. Now we're seeing 60s, 70s. I mean, the Melbourne Storm put 70 on us, was it last year on Anzac Day?
Anzac Day, who could forget? Well, that's actually a good point, because all the sort of tactics and ways to slow the ball down now, you get penalised, you get put in the bin.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I just
you're right.
achieved my move goal on my Apple Watch.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah. While I'm sitting down doing a podcast.
You've got that rigged. Jesus. That's actually a really good car analogy.
Thank you. Yeah, I've always been trying to figure out exactly how to explain that. But yeah, I just think that it's because of the way the rules are set up, the blowouts get so much worse.
Instead of blowout, you should say blow off valve.
Yeah.
Go, what?
Yeah, that's what we need. I honestly think the 6 again's great, but I do think we need a few more penalties. I know they've brought that in with now if you get a 6 again in your own half, then it's that's a penalty.
I don't know,
That's
man.
the blow off valve.
I reckon 6 again's cooler.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Intercooler.
Definitely. Turbo intercooler.
It's more turbo chat. Yeah, feel free to package any of this stuff up and put it on the old Instagram there, Adam. Thanks, mate. Here's a quick question.
Yep.
Out of the 3 teams who did the blowouts, I'll go through them one by one. You tell me whether or not they're going to be in the top 8.
Yeah.
Sharks.
Yes.
Cows.
Yes.
Just, right?
Yeah.
Like, in form-wise right now, definitely yes, but points, yeah. Knights.
No.
Yeah. So how the hell did the Bulldogs let the Knights run it? Like, once the Knights get going, they've got, obviously, Kalen Ponga.
But that's it. And that's all you need.
But what about like Lachlan Fitzgibbon and all these guys who are having an absolute cracker? And Greg Marju, by the way, who's my favourite winger in the NRL. Far out, I love him so much.
And
when he catches the bus.
We went down and we watched the Mad Dogs last game of the season. They played the Te Arotu Roosters in the under 90 kilogram competition here in Auckland.
Shout out to Mount Albert, just lost.
Shout out to Mount Albert, just lost by about 3 tries. But what I was saying to you on the halftime, we played a game where I was just like, if you had to bring one player from the NRL in here and they had to score a try with the first touch of the ball, or your kitten to be killed, who would you bring in? And I think, didn't we both say...
Well, it was about half a second and I just said Nelson Asofa-Solomona. But then you had a good point. You said Joey Manu. Did you say Joey Manu?
No, but it was a back.
Oh, Cameron Munster.
Cam Munster.
Yeah.
But I've actually since watching Ponga, I think it might be him, and that's why I think, like you're saying, the Knights aren't that good. They're the worst of the 3 teams that put hidings on this weekend. Why did they run up so many points? Because that's the kind of player Ponga is, and on his day, he can slice through any defense.
Oh my God, his right foot step.
Yeah, we don't have a player like that at the Waz. Since Roger left, I don't think we'd ever run up like 60 odd points. Although having said that, we did put 48 on.
But also
the Knights just not too long ago.
It's a real sign of
Dragons.
This is the Dragons. But this is a classic example of why having a player like that doesn't always work out, because the Knights aren't exactly humming.
No.
Meanwhile, we're solid across the board.
And that's why Reece Walsh wasn't for us. We don't need him.
Exactly.
Because he is one of those players as well. But that is not the kind of player that we need.
Yeah, fuck Ponga. Is that what you're trying to say? I actually love Ponga so much.
I was going to go fuck Walsh, but...
Yeah, both.
Ponga can catch these strays as well.
Yeah, I actually really like Ponga.
He's great.
Yeah. All right, well, that's a bit of blowout analysis, actually, from a blowout expert, Manaia Stewart. The only one that had more blowouts this weekend than the NRL was Manaia Stewart.
Not guilty, Your Honour.
Yeah, what are you getting the ref's room number, mate?
Time to move on to a wee bit of analysis of the State of Origin Game 3 dead rubber teams. Now, here's a hot take for you. Mm-hmm. Why the hell are we playing Game 3?
I know.
Like, so, for example, shout out to Clint Gutherson, who's been brought in, jersey 17. He's coming off the interchange for the Blues.
Yeah.
Cool, right? Guess who needs him really badly?
Yeah.
The frickin' Eels.
Yeah, I know.
So, a guy like Luai or Jerome Manaia,
Sure.
or Manaia Stewart, as I call him, he
That one worked.
he comes in and ruins Game 1 and Game 2 and loses, right?
Yeah.
And now, I hear he's got an injury or something, now
of course he does.
He's been dropped. So guess who's playing for the Panthers next weekend? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because he won't be backing up. They've got to buy this weekend, but Luai will be playing.
Yeah.
Nathan Cleary will be coming back and playing for the Panthers. Meanwhile, the Eels, who started slow and are desperate to get into, where are they? The Eels are 6th right now.
Yeah.
So they're tied with us.
Yeah.
So they're in no means safe. They've got to give up their best player.
Yeah.
And Mitch Moses. arguably.
Yeah, nice, that was good.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gutho and Mo. And so it's just like, what the hell is the point
Nah,
of this?
I know, and I've been saying this all year. I reckon, and it just seems it makes too much sense. They'll never do it. They need to change it to a 5-game series,
Right.
State of Origin, and it's first to 3, like the NBA finals used to be.
And when?
I think the same stretch. I understand 5 is a long
In the middle of the season, it just ruins your NRL side.
I know, but
Unless you're the Warriors.
or you do best of 3 and it's first to 2. You know, which is essentially just getting rid of the dead rubber. But if you go to 3, then you go to 3. But these contact sports don't, like when cricket do a bad job of this as well, where they have a 4-game test series, you know, and they play all of them, and so they're susceptible to dead rubbers. But
by the way, 20 days of sport there possibly.
But you can do that with a non-contact sport because they can get up and play again tomorrow. But like you're saying with rugby league in the middle of the season, it's a bit brutal. So there's no need for a dead rubber. And you know, Blues fans, you'll try and kid yourself that 2-1's better than 3-0. It's not really. You still lost the series. So, you know, who really gives a shit?
All right. Just quickly looking at, because the main changes are quick shout out to AJ Brimson, who's coming in to replace Reece Walsh for Queensland. You got, oh my God, how's this for a forward pack? Ruben Cotter, Harry Grant, Tino, David Fafita, Nanai, and Pat Carrigan are your forward pack to start the game for the Queensland. That is an insane forward pack. I hate it so much. So obviously, and then you've got a reserve fullback on the bench in Lindsay Collins. Shout out to Corey Horsburgh for making his debut as well. He's in jersey 17 for Queensland. However, looking at my New South Wales side, why the hell is Bradman Best in there? Why the hell is Bradman Best in there?
He just ran up 66 points against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, you could have done that.
Thank you.
Like seriously, like he had a cool game on the weekend. He has been and the Knights have been shit all season.
Yeah, I don't really understand it either, and I didn't see as many changes coming as I thought. I kind of got the vibe that Freddie Fittler was going to be gassed regardless of what he did.
So he's going to stick to his guns.
So he was just going to stick to his guns on the off chance that they win this one, and he goes, see, I wasn't far off. We could have won, you know, the series if a few calls went our way or whatever. I don't know. Looking at that Blues team, is that the team to right the ship here? I don't know. I don't think it is.
If it was me, I'd have Gutho starting in jersey number 4 instead of Bradman Best, and he wouldn't even be travelling with the side because I think there's just so many better options out there.
Yeah.
Stephen Crichton, Brian To'o, you've got Addo shout out to Cody Walker. I think he's easily the best 5'8" at the moment.
100%.
Now that he's back on track and righted the ship against the Wires. So him and Moses, I actually really like that pairing. I love that Jake Trbojevic is back. He's had one game back from injury. Boom, starting at prop.
I really think Hines should be in there.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you got last year's Dally M. You know,
he's not even in the 19.
Nah, I just think that's ridiculous. I think people get too carried away with State of Origin.
Too cute.
As if they're like, it's a completely different game. Looks a lot like NRL though, doesn't it?
I mean, I like that they've got Cook starting at 9. Okay,
Yeah.
great. They've got Kolo Matangi's replacing Hudson Young in jersey 12. Awesome.
They'll move Cook out to centre though.
They'll put him at fullback. And then you've got Cam Murray starting in jersey 13 instead of coming off the bench 35 minutes into the game.
Yeah, Robson off the bench.
It's like, you know what, mate, if you'd named this team at the start of the series, maybe and Gas Tedesco, because he's shithouse at the moment.
So feedy.
Although we don't have Turbo or Latrell. So you know what I'd do is put Drinkwater in at starting fullback.
Oh, why not?
He's playing 18th man, but shit, he's been good.
I'd just go full offense and be like, look, we might leak 30 points, but we could score 60. So let's see how this goes.
I am not confident as a New South Wales fan. Stoked for Cody Walker to be back.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy Jake Trbojevic is back and Gutherson's on the bench, but that's about it. I don't think it's going to be.
Nah. Just on a little bit of, we'll call it State of O, we'll call it league chat, but the tits you talked about Fafita and Tino Fa'asua Manaiawi.
Oh, yeah, the bombshell.
So Justin Holbrook was baked into both of their contracts that if the coach got sacked, they would immediately become free agents. So Fafita and Tino Fa'asua Manaiawi,
AKA 90% of their offense.
are both now on the... Well, I believe
they're free agents at the end of the season. I think.
Oh, is it the end of the season?
I think so. Yeah.
I need the NRL to figure out their free agency trade system. It is just too cooked. It's too distracting during the season. There needs to be a trade window, trade deadlines. There needs to be a clear off season. You can't have dudes signing for other
Midway.
clubs midway through the thing.
Well, because it's like when Jack Whiten signed for the Rabbitohs midway
Yeah.
through the Raiders season. He's been sweet since, but like, how distracting is that? Or Ben Hunt as well.
And all it would take is for him to have a little bit of a blow up, which happens in any sporting team, and then someone's just like, well, what do you care? You're out of here next year anyway,
So-
KD with the Warriors.
What I'm trying to figure out is, did the Titans management know about this? Because I
They
feel
have
like,
to have.
but you're better off keeping Holbrook and Fafita and Tino, who are literally the two of, if not the best forwards in the game right now. They are beasts.
It reeks to me of someone in management, because they've all got such giant egos, just going, well, I don't care if they don't want to be here, then they can go. Or no one's bigger than the club, and if
Yeah, they are.
our two best players and State of Origin representative players want to leave, well, so be it. But I'm not going to be held ransom by these guys and just keep this coach in here, when just because we're scared of these guys leaving. So
Oh, no, 100%.
that's exactly what I think's happened here.
And it says here, the headline I'm reading right now is offers in by lunchtime. Titans' secret Holbrook sacking triggers $1.9 million NRL feeding frenzy. So a whole lot of clubs, the standard clubs that have got heaps of money and no one wants to play for them, they'll be putting deals together to try and get these two. I hope they don't go, because without them, the Titans are literally fucked.
Oh, no, I hope they do, because aren't the Titans right in our rearview mirror? I hope that this spells misery for the remainder of their season.
I don't want to win ugly. But like, if there's a team you want to spell misery for, the Titans will do it to themselves. We don't need to be putting we want to do that to like the Panthers.
I can't see Tino leaving. Fafita, yes, but Tino, he's the captain.
He bleeds white and light blue.
And he deserves to have a franchise associated with him. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I would like to see him have a 10-year career at the one club. Also, living in the Goldie would be sick.
I went to the Gold Coast last year, and because I used to go there when I was like a kid, when I was like 8.
What's the spiritual home of the New Zealander?
Well,
The
it
Gold
really
Coast.
is. And I went there and I was like, holy shit, I forgot how awesome it is here.
Well, that's why all of your cousins are scaffolders over there.
That is 100% true, actually. Shout out to my cousin Jesse, who just left today.
Yeah.
Back to the Goldie. So, I mean, look, I personally, and I think David Fafita is one of the most exciting players, and certainly the most exciting forward in the game.
Yeah, he's an absolute wrecking ball.
He is a beast to watch.
Does he like rain? Could we get him over here?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. Well, Fafita, maybe he's got family over here. I'm not too sure. We can see. Anyway, look, that's enough serious NRL chat for you today. The Mad Monday podcast will be back again on Wednesday with a Supercoach wrap once we've seen the team list, and also your good punt brought to you by the TAB. Thank you, Export. Thanks, 4 and 20. Thank you, Manaia Stewart.
Thank you, Chris K.
Thank you, listeners. Thanks, Adam. Paul Munner, producer. Thanks, mate. See ya.
Without rugby league. And Australia without rugby league is not Australia.